Hey, good morning YouTube, Public Piper here, and today we're going to talk about LJ Peretti's. I recently bought 4 blends. I brought 2 with me today. I'm going to do a shootout, see which one comes out on top. I also bought a couple clay pipes from Dawn Mist over in the UK. I got that order, I brought one with me, so I'm going to show you that as well. I'd like you to meet my good friend here, Toonsis the Talking Cat. I just kind of caught that in the monitor there. And what else? Lastly but not least, I got my braces off, so let the clenching begin. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so I got 2 pipes loaded up here. On the red pipe, I got LJ Peretti's Dundee, and in my spigot, I've got Blend W. And to be honest, I've already charred both of them, had a couple draws each, and I can tell you right now, I prefer the Dundee. And the reason why is because the Dundee, compared to the W, is just more full-bodied. It's more raw, it's got more oomph behind it, more punch. It's just more similar to the type of tobacco I traditionally smoke. With that said though, and these are only 2 out of the 4 blends that I ordered, out of all 4, I did notice kind of a common theme amongst all 4, and that is they all, compared to what I usually smoke, definitely were smoothed out or had I'm going to go ahead and say a processed type of taste, something slightly artificial. And that was probably the biggest surprise for me, because when I called LJ Peretti's and ordered it over the phone, I said, give me your 4 strongest, most unadulterated, most raw tobaccos. I think I even used the word harsh. I was like, I smoke harsh tobaccos. Give me the harshest stuff you got. And the salesman was great, by the way. And one thing he said was, well, sir, we don't really have any harsh tobaccos. And he was very forthright, very honest when he said that there was a topping on all their tobaccos, a common topping, or a common process. I think he said both, through which all their tobaccos are conditioned. And when I'm smoking these 4, I can definitely pick up that common theme between all 4 of them. This Blend W reminds me a little bit of Boswell's Countryside. It's not identical, but it's kind of in that neighborhood. It has that sweetness that the Countryside has, kind of dessert-like. So I was in the mood for Vietnamese this morning, and went to this food truck right here. Got one of these classical Vietnamese sandwiches. I also got a classical Vietnamese iced coffee with condensed milk. It's pretty sweet. Alright, so it's day 2, and I'm using the exact same 2 pipes with the exact same tobaccos. So in the red pipe, we've got LJ Peretti's Dundee, and in my spigot Peterson, we've got Blend W. Let's give this another shot. I think at this point, because I know I like the Dundee, I even had another bowl yesterday, I'm just going to focus on Blend W here and see if there's anything worthwhile to return to in a reorder. I don't think there is. I could see myself reordering Dundee, maybe, but this one, there's so many good light Englishes or medium Englishes that I don't know if this has got the stuff, got what it takes to warrant a reorder. Well, I'm at the end of my bowl, and final thoughts on W. It starts off relatively strong, starts off relatively good, and what little flavor I do get right off the charring light disappears by mid-bowl. And to be honest, in the last quarter bowl, it doesn't really taste like a whole lot of anything. It's gotten even lighter and lighter throughout the bowl. So it's not a close call for me. I wouldn't reorder it. Not because it's bad, just because it's nothing special. I'm going to put this down, and all I ever did is char the Dundee here, so I'm going to go into that one next. I got a feeling as soon as I light this up, it's going to be an explosion of flavor compared to that. The cut is just so much better too. It burns. The cube cut, and again, I've had cube cut
before, Crooner by C&D is a cube cut. And I remember that being kind of tricky to light, but even within the cube cuts I've had, this particular cut, that W, was the hardest to light, the hardest to keep lit. You know, this Dundee has a little bit of cigar leaf in it, and I love cigar leaf. Sometimes I get burnt out on it, but I haven't had it in a while. It's just such a nice touch. It's such a nice condiment tobacco in certain blends. Too much is no good. This has just enough. This is the Goldilocks. Does it taste like Key Largo? No. Does it taste like Stormfront? No. GLP's Robusto, Billy Bud. It's not that heavy. It's not that much cigar leaf. It's lighter than all of those. But just right. Every bowl I smoke of this, I'm starting to, I can't tell if I'm biased because I'm comparing it to the other Perettis, that it's standing out amongst some laggards, but I'm liking this more and more every time. Something funny happened Friday night on the Reddit hangout, either right after I got off or right after I got back on. I actually forget, but I was on a 3-day kick of smoking 90% Perettis, these 4 blends, and so I hadn't had one of my traditional blends in several days, especially that day. And it was getting toward the very end of the night, 11, 12 o'clock, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to put aside the Perettis. I'm just going to reach for one of my C&D blends, and I had a little bit left of Bayou Morning. And like I said in a previous video, Bayou Morning was definitely good. It was nothing special to me. I didn't think the 25% Perique was necessarily crazy spicy, but I also don't remember it being that strong of a blend compared to my other C&D rotation. But that day, given the fact that I was smoking LJs all day, when I lit up that first draw, that charring light of Bayou Morning, it kicked my butt. Just the very first draw, I almost choked. In a good way. It was a reawakening and a reminder of what I like. But it was just so refreshing. And it's like, this is what I've been missing all day, or all week to a certain extent. It just goes to show you how relative things are. Your memory of what tobaccos used to taste like, not only days ago but weeks ago, it's hard to retain that information. So to a certain extent, all you can really do accurately is compare tobaccos within the day, maybe within a few days in a row. After that, it's just really hard to remember exactly what the experience was like. But that night, Bayou Morning was fantastic. Same thing with my cigar leaves. If you're smoking nothing but cigar leaf, even if you have a variety of different blends, it starts to lose its specialness. But when you kind of intersperse and sprinkle in a few bowls per week or a few bowls per month, it really stands out, and the cigar leaf is just really refreshing. Same thing with deer tongue, I would say. With Crooner or Gentleman Caller, if you smoke it all the time, it's going to lose its specialness. It's not going to taste like much. But you have the occasional bowl, and it's just like giving your mouth a car wash. It's just really refreshing. It's a completely different taste. All right, time to move on. Now I'm going to compare Dundee versus 333. This isn't really an apples to apples comparison. 333 is something different, but I wanted to give it a shot anyway. Okay, so the Challenger is 333 in this pipe. This is just going to be a comparison on the charring light. There's that Dundee kick again. I'll tell you what, this one's closer. This one is a lot closer. 333, now that I'm coming back to it, it's smoother, more conditioned. Dundee is more raw. But that gap is like this much compared to Blend W, that gap is like this much. Nah, I just prefer it, man. It's just... even 5 minutes into each bowl, Dundee is just a better blend in my opinion. You know, it's kind of like cheating though, because this one does have the scar leaf in it, and I love that stuff. Like I said, it's not a fair comparison, but on a given day, if these two were in front of me, I'd grab Dundee.
All right, so now for the last comparison, I got some Peretti's BPC, that's burley plug cut, and I'm going to take that back to back with Dundee. BPC's in the top, Dundee's in the longer pipe here. To be honest, I'm kind of getting tired of smoking this stuff, but this is the last round. All right, so here's the charring light of the BPC. Supposed to be straight burley. No Virginia, no Latakia. Smooth. Carter Hall-ish. Not a lot there. Alright, let's see if I'm sick of Dundee at this point in the day. It's better. In my opinion, just better. They say BPC and 333 are very similar, and I'd have to agree. Now that I have these four blends, I realize I didn't get the most popular. The Cuban, the Thanksgiving Day, there's probably one or two other ones there that are highly rated. Getting some samples of those here in a few days. And I'm sure those would be, you know, right up there with Dundee. Alright guys, that's my final thoughts on LJ Peretti's. I kind of got a pretty good feeling of, I think, what the brand has to offer with these four. Again, I'm looking forward to getting Thanksgiving Day and Cuban Mixture. I think those will be right up there with Dundee, at least for me. But all in all, it may be a brand I continue to buy, it may not be. Kind of undecided right now. But I do like this idea of doing a back-to-back comparison. I'm going to do something similar when I revisit all my favorite Rat Ray blends that I used to love. I'm going to try to do that over Christmas vacation. So I want to compare Brown Clooney versus Old Gowrie versus How the Wind, and maybe even throw in Marlin Flake in there, although that's kind of a different animal. And with that, I want to say thanks again for watching. I definitely appreciate all your comments and your views. And in closing, don't forget about the Rally Pipe Show, April 9th, 2016. All right, guys. See you next time.